myself, I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year, so many men sold away. And I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you, hope you guess my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. Good morning, aloha everyone. This is Jason Schwartz. We are on the air here at KAKU 88.5 FM, Kahului, Maui. We're also on Facebook Live. If you go to KAKU page, you'll see us live. And tomorrow morning, or even tonight, you'll go to MauiNeutralZone.com and you'll see a replay of this show and all of our shows. In fact, I hope you do some binge watching and listening to our shows, because we have been putting up shows instead of interviewing candidates through this election season or talking about things in that way. We've been going over issues and talking to people about issues, and mostly I've stayed away from anything specifically with candidates. But today, I was out at a ukulele festival 2 Sundays ago. I had been doing a series of shows about water. And in those shows, all kinds of different aspects. Stuart Stant and Mike Miyamoto came from the Environmental Management Division of Maui County, and I had Rob Parsons up here. And if Gladys Bice is listening, or if you know Gladys Bice, tell her to call me, would you? But we would like her on the show, because there are important issues in Maui, and I don't like being political, even though I ran for mayor as a Green Party guy 25 years ago, and I've seen them screw up Maui, excuse my French. And when I say they, these are local people and people that came here from wherever. I am getting to the point of realizing that I hear and see so much prejudice coming out through an election season, it's hard for me to swallow. So I was covering issues. But today I brought someone on. They were on in the primary time because they were a group that was out there, but I wanted them to be here again after the primary and talk to them. I have Paul DesLauriers, who is the head, I don't know how we put that, of something called the Maui Pono Network. Hey, how are you, Paul? How are you being with us today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
If you will, just come on up, just about perfect. There you go.
Okay, how's that?
That's excellent.
Okay, good.
So, the Maui Pono Network. You know, when I hear the name, I think, what? Pono. To me, that means a balance. It means doing what is right. Well, how do you describe Pono? We inherited this word from the Hawaiian culture. Right?
Well, I would like to defer to Alika Atai's definition of Pono, which to me I think really reflects the deeper aspect of what we're really about. And it means spiritual alignment. It means really being aligned to truth, to honesty, to really serving the Aina and the people in a way that comes from the heart. So it's about supporting and maintaining a high vibration and consciousness through action. So we have a group of people who are really dedicated to really support this whole county to function at a high level.
Pull your mic down a little bit so everyone on the screen there can see your beautiful face. Okay, so, got it. Now, so we are speaking about lofty ideals and spirit. This is politics. And when it comes to politics, did you see today's Maui News yet?
No, not yet, no.
Okay. I went online, and today in the Maui News, there's a thing right on the front. It says, Maui Pono Network, and there's a letter from Paul. And so you know which letter it is. You wrote it. And the letter I thought was explaining and saying things like, look, this is not someone coming in from some off island. This is local people 150 people or so that came up with ideas and things that they thought were important to our island. And we looked at 40-something candidates, and we came to see which ones scored the highest. And then these are the people we think that people should look at. You go as far as to say vote for these guys. But I usually say to my audience, don't ever take anything and just eat it like you believe it unless you look at it yourself. So you do a pretty good job on your site, but there are other people around that have created plenty of things about these candidates. But people, whoever you are, whether you like the Pono Network, don't like them, like local people, are local people, if I'm here 30 years, I'm local people. And maybe I wasn't born here, but when people come to America, do they say, well, I'm not from here, I must be an outsider? Well, there's some of that stuff going on nationally. Even people that were born here are accused of that stuff. But my point being, take a look at candidates. We have an election in just a few weeks. We're going to have absentee ballots are getting mailed out. So that was one of the reasons I thought it was good to bring Paul in here, was I really want our voters to wake up to the fact that you have power. You have power to make a difference. You can go in, register to vote, and vote on the same day. That is extraordinary, and that is the power to be part of whatever change or no change from what's going on. But please don't think you're going to sit at home and later complain about what's going on and say, well, those people decided, I had nothing to do with it. That is the point. Get out there.
So if I can explain, Jason,
Please
a little bit
do.
about our process and what we've done and how the organization evolved and developed. First of all, we started off with a group of people who were very concerned about the future of the island, especially as we're transitioning from this plantation, more of a sugarcane, pineapple economy to something that is yet to be formed. And yet,
when you say transitioning, I'm just going to cut in for a second. I got here in 1988. That was transitioning. They're still transitioning. So now
that's right.
The pineapple thing has been going down and down and down, and the ag thing's been going down and down. We're holding the land with a couple of large companies.
Well, it's a very important time, and that's why initially we had, starting in March, we had 138 people come together and say, look, we really want to support having progressive candidates, those that really support the INA and the people. So we decided then as a group to form the Maui Pono Network.
Got it.
And it's all local people. It's all grassroots. There's no outside influence. There's no offshore island stuff. It's all local people who are concerned about the INA, the keiki, the kupuna, as we move forward. What is the best possible route for us to do? We look at the way the candidates have been voted, some of them, and how they are being supported by fairly large offshore corporate interests. We're very concerned. There's a distinction. So let me finish. Hang on a second. Let me finish. So we did our due diligence.
Right.
We interviewed 42 candidates. Some of the interviews lasted an hour. We crafted over 60 questions. We did research in their background, if they've been arrested, if they've voted particular ways, if they've been funded by certain groups. We really asked a lot of very pertinent questions. And in that, it became really, really clear to all of the people involved in this committee evaluating these candidates that, whoa, there are 10 that really stand out. That really stand out in terms of directly supporting the people, supporting the needs, understanding them, understanding the issues, and how they've been perpetuated for so long. Affordable housing being a very good example. And why is it that these issues have still been affecting the community in such a profound way? So it really has to do with the candidates. So that's what our whole process was, of screening them. And with that, once we got those 10 candidates, we said, okay, we really want to support them in becoming elected. They don't have big money corporate interest funding them. So all they really have is grassroots. People like you and me who say, okay,
and
people out there who say, you know what, I really do want to support the island in a very positive and progressive way, and we're encouraging people to get educated so they can make the right choice.
Well, that's really a good point.
So, because
we now have time, we still have time to have people get involved and find about the campaign.
Well, we don't have much time. This Friday, we are getting the absentee ballots in. Absentee ballots account for over 60% of the vote. Wow. So really, this is it. This week is really where the main part of the election is going to take place. So it's extremely important that when people receive their absentee ballots, or if they decide to go to Wailuku to register and vote on the same day, or go on the poll days on the 6th, whatever form they use, it's important to be educated. And that's why a group then independently started another website to compile all the voting records of all the candidates,
right?
To find out about their history and list that.
What's that address?
MauiVoteSmart.org.
That's a good name. MauiVoteSmart.org. Easy.
And you can go there, and if you then just click the tabs, you'll find out the voting history, the records, what they stand for. And it's interesting to see, at least from my perspective, after doing all of this homework, after interviewing all the candidates like Victorino, and we interviewed nearly all the candidates that were out there that ran, with 42 of them. So we really did look at and really objectively tried to find out who would support the island, especially as we go through this shift in terms of land use. So, and it's an incredible opportunity too. If we choose to really support the Aina and the people versus another type of form of development that has to do with large corporate interest who are interested primarily in short-term profits. Those short-term profits, would be good for their shareholders, obviously, but it often does not reflect anything to do with the residents here on the island, the needs of the island, and what's truly happening.
I just think it's important to notice, it's clear that what you said is true, that some of the money's coming from corporations and short-term profits and all that, but I hope that people really get down to what is right. We talk about future generations like we care, but if we care, we need to do what is right for our island. We're an island. When people say things to me like, well, we need more building of this and we can't stop this. We're on an island. We have nowhere to go. If we don't handle our emissions right, if we don't deal with water right, if we don't keep open space for farming, these are changing our world forever. Maui will never, it already is, but it will never be the same. It will never be what local people think they want and somehow someone's coming in. I've heard so much crap, excuse my French, about this idea that someone's imposing ideas on the local people and they need to resist the outside coming in. Doesn't matter if you're outside or inside. You got to do what's right.
That's it, and that's the whole point.
That's why I think your word "pono" to me,
we got to do what's right.
Is very important.
I'll give you an example. For example, and what's happening right now, and why I'm so concerned, and why I'm grateful to have this opportunity to really speak to the residents here on island. There's a lot of monies that go into PR and PR scripting. If candidates have a significant monies coming in, then they can hire offshore PR firms to help script messages. I've worked for a lot of advertising agencies in the past, helping to restructure and work with them, a lot of TV broadcasting stations. That was my profession before becoming an activist.
I see.
And in that, I really saw how delicate it is in terms of shaping consciousness. We are so influenced, our subconscious is so influenced by repeated messages. So what's disturbing for me right now is that the messages that are being crafted and repeated do not reflect the platform or the actual decisions or where a person is coming from. And let me explain what I mean by that. I've been going to a lot of the debates, and through the debates, I've been really getting where the different candidates are coming from, what their platforms are. I find it disturbing that when, for example, Victorino is debating Ellie Cochran, the whole issues of past records, when that comes up, Mike automatically starts saying, well, you're playing dirty, and accuses Ellie of that. Well, wait a minute. No one's playing dirty. We're just trying to get the truth. And the truth is what we truly have. And it disturbs me when I see that this repeated messages that are being crafted by PR firms that totally counteract what has been said and what has been done by these candidates. Victorino, for example, in 2008, Mike was very instrumental in creating a policy that actually created 1/2 of the requirements by developers for affordable housing. So in other words, he reduced the requirements by these developers for the affordable housing that the county had mandated. So just in McKenna Landing alone, we had lost 500 affordable housing units. Now, if you look at his platform right now, he's taking Ellie's statements and Ellie's focus on affordable housing, and she has been a champion, consistent champion, to support this. And she's developed.
So what is Victorino doing? He's using that.
Just repeating exactly what Ellie's saying, repeating exactly what it does from a PR standpoint. Again, we got to look at strategic.
We're going to take a break here in a minute. So,
okay,
but what it does is.
What it does is it really strategically creates little distinction in terms of platform issues. Because, I'm for that too. Oh, I'm for that too. Oh, I believe. But when you look at the actual past and look at actions, look at why the construction company is pouring so much money behind Mike Victorino, then it becomes obvious that, wait a minute, are we being told the truth? Is this going to be another type of political campaign run like Trump, where all these campaign promises are put out by PR firms because it's there crafted to get votes? It's not about truth. It's about statements to get votes. And once they're in.
Let's come back to that, because I'll be back to it. We have to do our station identification and our donors that keep us alive. I have Cash for Gold, Ein Alone, and TheMauiMiracle.org. TheMauiMiracle.org is actually a group interested in values, and it's interesting when I read their platform, they talk about you guys and they reference your candidates. So I guess I'd say it's interesting when you look at values and what's going on. You should really take a look at that website, TheMauiMiracle.org. Before you go looking at candidates, go look at values and get in touch with what really is Hawaiian values.
Nick did a very nice job on that site. Very nice.
Anyway, we're going to take a break. This is KAKU. I'm here with Paul DesLauriers, the head of Maui Pono Network. I'm Jason Schwartz. Let's see what else we got to say here.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I don't hear anything, I say, wait a minute. Maybe all the buttons weren't pushed together the right way. Let me just see. I don't see any Xboxes. Let's play another one.
KAKU 88.5 FM is your Maui community station. The Voice of Maui features great local programming from people like
Mary Margaret Baker, NP, and I have the Nurse Practitioner Show on health, wellness, and managing your dis-ease.
The Nurse Practitioner Show, Mondays at 2 on KAKU 88.5 FM Kahului, the Voice of Maui.
The Nurse Practitioner Show is brought to you by Dr. Melanie Vallejos, DDS, at 89 Ho'okele Street, Suite 203 in Kahului. From basic procedures to maintain dental health, such as screenings and cleanings, to cosmetic procedures like veneers, Dr. Melanie Vallejos is dedicated to providing a caring and respectful experience. For information, visit smilesofhawaii.com or call 877-8008. The Nurse Practitioner Show is brought to you by Dr. Melanie Vallejos, DDS, at 89 Ho'okele Street, Suite 203 in Kahului. From basic procedures to maintain dental health. Elevate your Thursday nights with Akaku Upstairs, a free salon series featuring speakers, screenings, workshops, and more.
On October 11th, motivational speaker Latasha Baldwin will discuss 5 proven techniques that can be used to achieve your goals.
Seating is limited, so call 871-5554 or email info@akaku.org to reserve your seats for Akaku Upstairs.
You're listening to the Voice of Maui, community-supported radio.
In honor of National Disability Employment Awareness Month, Kalima o Maui will be holding its 7th annual job fair, Thursday, October 18th from 9 to 11:30 a.m. at the Wailuku Community Center, with over 30 employers in attendance. For more information about the job fair, our website is kalimaomaui.org. That's kalimaomaui.org. Hope to see you at the job fair.
Here's a couple of sponsors I know. Is brought to you by the MauiMiracle.org for a better tomorrow. Today. The MauiMiracle.org. The Neutral Zone is brought to you by our kind
I like to honor my
donor,
sponsors besides
Cash for Gold, Kama'aina Loan.
I have sponsors
52
that back
and 98
me.
North
They didn't know
Market
what I was
Street
gonna
in
talk
Wailuku,
about.
Maui.
Just interesting.
242-5555. 242-5555. Kama'aina Loan, Cash for Gold. You know, I would say the alternative to banks for people that can't go into a bank and use them because they don't have enough money regularly, some of them. Anyway, he's been a friend for a long time, a wonderful man, Richard Dan. I am back here with Paul DesLauriers from Maui Pono Network. We were talking about how PR puts out messages that aren't necessarily the actual acts of those people that are the candidates, or it's very confusing for a voter to be able to really know what they're looking at. What did you find? You were out at the Maui County Fair now these last 4 days. We just had a county fair here. Some of you know it. In fact, I heard Willie Kay and Vince Esquire and the whole group were really great last night.
It was just an incredible event. I'm so blown away by the fair and you know what Avery Chumley's been able to do for so long and to keep sustained. It's just a wonderful community gathering. And
Avery Chumley, and then he turned it over to Mike Victorino, and now it's been turned over again. I don't even know who's running it at the moment.
Avery
for
is.
a while.
Yeah.
Is he now still?
And so it was great. We had people volunteering at the gates, and we were handing out cards, and a lot of people were very receptive, especially when it came down to learning more about the candidates themselves. On the cards that we were handing out, we have a website on the back, which we talked about, MauiVoteSmart.org, and it really does lay out the actual voting records, the affiliations in terms of funding support, but you can really see from the background in terms of the consistency in voting, where people are in terms of how they are also going to move forward.
That wasn't your group putting out that site, right?
No, it's not our group, but
so it's nice to see that there are, others that are out there that are looking at issues like you. That's great.
yeah, and of course we're supporting them and work with them. They're part of a larger team, just like the Kuleana Network is another aspect of getting all of the candidate information, not all 20 candidates, all 20 county candidates, to get all of their scheduling information when they're having sign waving, when they're doing canvassing, when the different debates are occurring, when the different forums are occurring, so that you have all of that information at the KuleanaNetwork.org. Again, that's another independent site, but again, it is about informing the public, getting actual information that is not about PR scripting.
Do you see things in the newspapers that we have here on the island supporting getting that information to people? Do they let people know about the KuleanaNetwork.org or Vote Smart, MauiVoteSmart.org or Maui Pono Network, any of that stuff? No.
I've been finding that it's been very interesting. I think that in terms of the oppositional candidates who have really the tremendous amount of financial resources behind them are scripting messages that are not about telling their actual voting records. It's not about telling about their past. It's not telling about their supporters. It's not telling about any of that information. Instead, it's about talking about how they enjoy baseball or how they're family and ohana with everyone. You see, so they go, again, it's PR scripting. You go on things that are affecting emotional issues within inside of you, because everyone loves ohana. Everyone loves family. So you get, Alan putting out these scripted messages by PR companies that really repeat those feeling good messages. But does it truly reflect who the candidate is and what their voting record is and how they show up and how they, like, for example, when we interviewed them, how they answered our questions? It does not reflect any of that whatsoever. It's about scripting subconscious messages of the voters by repeating messages that may not have anything to do with reality, anything to do with what they're going to do when they get in office. It's all about getting votes.
I wonder, maybe the next time, we'll see what the next election looks like, when you do those interviews, I think they need to be told, we're going to tape these, because I think that really that is the biggest issue. That things that are said in one place are now not being reflected in what is going out to the public, and that's very sad. And your letter that was in the Maui News today, it's the comments that I see after the letter that hurt me deeply, because they show heavy prejudice, heavy thing pulling at, they're not local, and heavy things pulling at things that aren't
I would like you to reflect on that. For example, they have been having people put out in letters to the editor that the Maui Pono Network is supported by Washington lobbyists. What? We're getting $10, $15 from local residents here and there so that we can do our promotions, that we could print these 50,000 cards. We, at the county fair, we handed out over 25,000 cards by hand to residents, and we're encouraging them to be informed. Please be informed. Go to MauiVoteSmart.org. Understand the records, not the PR hype that is being spread by this tremendous amount of money that they're receiving. So I think it's really crucial to get in touch with the truth and reality versus spin. And so part of what we've been doing and why we have so many people who are so passionate. I mean, handing out 25,000, you know how many, it's a lot of energy and effort, tremendous amount, and that's within a 4-day period we did that. Wow. So but there's a lot of people, again, who are very passionate about getting the truth out, letting people truly understand that Ellie, for example, does provide solid, good resolutions to these issues, especially about water rights and water distribution, key issues around affordable housing. I mean, she's been doing research on for a long time on trying to get the very best methodologies to support affordable housing, but yet what's happened in the county council is that there's been a majority of I guess you can call them non-progressives, or those candidates that are very heavily influenced by offshore monies and interests that are supporting them. So
when you say offshore monies and interests, do you actually think there are conversations going on between these developers and the candidates about the votes that they're making?
I think that all you have to do is look at records. This is why records are so important.
So that's
you go look at Yuki Lei, you go look at her support of Monsanto, and then you look at the money that's coming in from Monsanto and how she supported so many different things around that issue. Same with Mike Victorino. You look at his records in terms of how he actually voted and decisions that he made when he was a county council member, and you see that it was really pro-big construction companies. A lot of these construction companies are based in Oahu.
Do you think that's because he didn't have enough information? I don't often think of Mike as a sellout kind of guy. I think of him as someone who actually really loves and cares the people here.
Well, why would someone why would someone who has that value, why would they then take 1/2 of the affordable housing requirements that were done by the county here for these developers so that we can start to address the affordable housing? Why would he create 1/2 of that then losing 500 units in the...
Did anyone ask him? Did you ask him that kind of question when you had him in front of you, or no?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
I don't know exactly the words, but he's saying that, well, those were decisions I made that I felt were best. So
that's where he left it. Okay.
So again, that's why we supported Ellie, because we asked those questions and we started to go and dig. And when we dug and we really got down to the nitty-gritty of how these people really voted in the past, what their affiliations are, what their support is, that's one aspect. Now, another aspect that we're very concerned about, and that's been going on, is that if anybody starts to tell the truth, it's spun around and put out as, oh, this is dirty politics. Well, wait a minute. The truth is not dirty politics. The truth is the truth. If this is how you voted, and the people need to know that. And then I've noticed another thing is that there's a lot of spin going on. So that's why the Maui Pono network has been referred to as an offshore lobbyist group, a super PAC, getting tons of money. We are not a super PAC.
And I know you don't have
we are a standard PAC. We're able to coordinate and work with the candidates as a team, but we are very restricted under the laws for the commission, the Hawaii Commission, that restricts a lot of what we can do and can't do, and we adhere to those rules. So we are just a very small organization. Right now, our group has grown to over 270 people now. And we're out there doing phone banking, handing out cards. You'll see us at the Friday events. You'll see us at just about any big event that happens at the MAC. We're trying to inform the public of the truth, of what's truly happening. And that's why we're so passionate and concerned, because we know that if some of these oppositional candidates get in, it does not look very good for the future of this island, unless you want it to be another Oahu. So we're very concerned about these things and about the misinformation that's going out. Just like I put out that letter to the editor. Now, again, to try to at least let people know that, wait a minute, what's being said, that we're they're actually trying to promote that the Ohana candidates are not local. Oh my God, these are local leaders who've been, I mean, how they've served the community is extraordinary. And the things they've done for water distribution, for septic issues, for the coastline, protecting the reefs, I mean, it's been incredible what these candidates have done.
And I think it's important for people to know that these are candidates. You group them together as the Ohana candidates. These candidates are not in any way planning things together to stop things. I mean, all that stuff is maybe what others are doing and not talking about, like you're saying. But when I see Tasha Kama, I don't even know if she knows, you know, this other candidate, that except that now they meet them through your network and you're standing up there together, so they probably get a chance to know each other. But they're individuals, and you found out who they are as individuals and grouped them together. So I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
That these are people that came together because they had values that matched your group of many people who had values. That's why they're looked at together. No one's coming and forming this outside interest to come and influence our Maui life. Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. In fact, it's just the opposite, because these people really reflected such important values, I think, for the future, for 7 generations to come. That's why we were so impassioned to say, okay, I'll volunteer. I'll put in even 30 hours a week if I can possibly do that. Wow. And that's what some people are doing in order to really help elect these. And they're doing it, they're all volunteers. We don't have the financial resources that the oppositional candidates have. Right. We're not having these big monies coming in and crafting all of these messages that are going on TV and on the newspapers. So the people are being flooded with these messages that are scripted by PR agencies to get votes. It does not reflect the true platform or the true actual history of voting and how they've actually showed up in the past. So anyway.
Yeah, well, remember, listeners, you're listening to Paul DesLauriers. I'm Jason Schwartz. Paul is the head of the Maui Pono Network, which is a group getting out there and sharing the values of candidates and showing who they are, and hoping that all of you will take a look at what's going on in our politics and vote based on values. I really, once again, go back to that. I think that you really did so much work to look at these candidates and look at them as individuals. The only reason I bring it up is I think it's really important to our listeners that they get involved here. This is their island and their world. You're just 280 people, but you represent all of them so that they will look themselves at what you've, I guess you'd say, discovered or have tracked. An amazing amount.
One of the big things that one of our committees did, who worked very, very hard for a couple of months, they looked at all the core issues throughout the island, throughout the whole county. And through that, there were certain ones that really reflected the issues in terms of the repercussions these issues are having. Affordable housing, $925,000 is what the average house sale is. And it requires a $220,000 income for that type of housing, and yet the average family is about $56,000. So when you look at
that's the average family, but average means there are a lot that are way less.
So this is unfortunately what's been happening when you focus on big constructions of big multi-million-dollar homes that are then rented out as B&Bs. This is what happens when you allow a lot of vacation rentals to go rampant and to be unchecked. Then these are some of the repercussions. But it was because of the previous administration. Let's get that straight. That the reason why we're in this situation for over 30 years in terms of affordable housing is because of the people who represented the issues and the needs and the resolutions were not supporting the people.
Well, you know, I've been here those 30 years, and I can tell you I 100% agree with you. We've had many chances to do the right thing, many chances. And it takes a lot of courage to get out there and stand up against them, because there is truly, I don't think of it as a conspiracy, as more as a reaction of, we're going to do what we think is right. We're not going to look and listen to what others are saying. We're going to do what we think is right. And then their influence has created what we've got now. I have seen so many deferments of affordable housing in different things over these years. I mean, it's just a shock.
The deferments alone, that again, this is under Mike Victorino's watch. Those deferments to the construction industry has resulted in having a lot of runoff issues, a lot of environmental problems, because they didn't do the mitigation that they were supposed to do, that they got these, you know, these bypasses so that they don't have to spend that money so now it's based on the taxpayer to remediate these issues that have not been done by the big construction companies. So it falls on the taxpayers. So this is the dynamic that we've been facing as an island. And again, we have to look at those people who supported that, who perpetrated that, and not allow them to get back into office. That's why having Mike in there, and you go down, Alice Lee, you go down and you look at the voting records of all of these, Alan Arakawa, you start to go down the line and you see a consistent pattern.
Would you like to
voting.
go through the races and share about candidates, or you think that would be... Let me think. Why don't we start to do that? Because like you just mentioned, Alan Arakawa and what he's done. You know, I mean, it is really a job for people to do, and do the heavy lifting that you guys have already done. So, and these other groups, they have looked at these candidates from all sides and have information for people so they can make their own good decision. Alan Arakawa is running against Tasha Kama. Alan has been in the mayorship for 11 years, and he was on council, what, 6, 8 years? I don't know exactly.
8 years, I believe.
And he was mayor, so it's like, that's a lot of years. That means as things were happening, he was there. If he, as a private citizen, wants to bring things up, I think it's great. But I personally don't want Alan Arakawa to be still in power and voting. So I guess that means that I am choosing Tasha. I like Alan. I think he's a really nice guy. I know him personally and find him to be very nice, but let him bring his good ideas to new and fresh people who are now not the same regime. And he carries with him Mike Molina, who worked for him, Alice Lee, who worked for him. I just don't Ricky Hokama. I just really don't understand why the people of Maui aren't standing up in revolt. Well, they did in the primary. Tasha won the primary. I hope we don't forget that as we're getting into the final, and that people will share with other people a need for a change.
And it's tough to remember that, though. And this is the whole point, is that when you get repeated PR messages that keep on scripting that I'm for Ohana and I'm for families and I love baseball and all these different messages of feel good that has nothing to do with the actual issues and needs of the island.
Absolutely.
That this is what we're getting bombarded with, because they know that that tugs at the heartstrings of people. And if they can get an emotional response, they can get a vote. This is what it's about. It's about PR agencies scripting feel-good messages so that it can evoke an emotional response and get a vote. They are avoiding the topics of truth. As soon as that is mentioned, all of a sudden they start raising up, oh, this is a negative campaign, or you're throwing trash. No, we're just trying to, wait a minute, you voted this way. This is not anything about giving trash or anything like that. The people need to be informed. And you are not supporting that information that is so crucial for the candidate, to really understand the candidates, to get out. So it is a huge challenge right now. Especially, they're putting full court press on all of their PR stuff, because they know that this coming Friday is when people will start receiving their absentee ballots. Approximately 63% of the voting is going to be happening right then and there. A lot of people within 2 days fill out their absentee ballots and mail it in. So this is it, this week. So if you want to become informed, again, MauiVoteSmart.org, if you want to become informed about the issues and the repercussions of those issues and resolutions that the candidates support, the Ohana candidates, all of them support these types of resolutions for these issues around water distribution, around issues of sewage, around roads, around the carrying capacity of the island in terms of tourism. There's a lot of core issues right now, aside from affordable housing, that I think people really need to understand, and you can get that at MauiPonoNetwork.org. There's hot issues, and there's drop-down tabs that give all of this information that I think you'll find very interesting.
A great job. And my sponsor, the MauiMiracle.org. There's lots of information out there if people will go out and find it. That's why I asked if the different print newspapers were helping you get out that there is such information available at your website. Not happening. No way. Maui News is supporting Mike Victorino. So they haven't been trying to get the public educated except through the writings of their writers.
You know, I've been finding as we were doing research, we have a whole team. We have 5 people doing research on all the candidates, and then posting the information, making sure that everything is well vetted. Everything, you can go to the reference points of every single point that we're making down there.
That's fantastic.
So it's well researched. And so that information, I think, you know, if people can just follow, if they want to check themselves, please do. We have it in bullet forms. What I would encourage people to do also, if they really want to get involved, is to, on social media, you can go to the website, either one of the two, Maui Vote Smart or MauiPonoNetwork.org, get clips in terms of the actual voting, their statements. You can pick up different pieces. You can talk about, you know, affordable housing records. You can talk about different decisions that were made and the repercussions and the negative impact on our community. You can get all of that information there. Take clips, post it on social media, please.
I hope all of you are hearing this. Really, you are part of the solution here. Even if you believe in Mike Victorino, wouldn't you like to see the real voting record? Wouldn't you like to be more informed than you are now? I want to repeat those a couple of more times, because I don't ever hear them out there except if they happen to be fortunate enough to run into one of these people.
The people who have the money, again, who are scripting the PR messages, are the ones that have the primary financial resources, which is the opposing candidates, and they do not want this information to go out about their past voting records, about how they've supported big corporations and industries. You know, for example, you look at the Shaka movement. Now, here's a good example.
Okay.
The community spoke. They voted, and they voted to have a moratorium for GMO spraying. So that then went to the county council. Alan Arakawa, Mike Victorino, Alice Lee, you go down the list of the people who are opposing. They opposed accepting the vote of the residents, and instead they sent it out to a circuit court in California, who they knew then that Monsanto would win because of the way the rules are in terms of legislations that have been passed.
In other words, they didn't stand up.
They didn't stand up and support the voting. They supported big corporations, and what they supported really is the disenfranchisement of the community. So I think we really have to remember that. There's another good example of corporate support versus looking at the vote of the people. Let's look at the facts, please.
By the way, I have invited the Maui News, Joe Bradley, and I've invited Tony Takatani, and I'm looking to see who are leaders of some of these, quote, other candidates to come and talk. I don't want the candidates here. I want to speak to people that are behind them. And no one has yet accepted to be on this show. So just understand, I am trying to be fair. I don't really like the fact that I keep putting out one side of an issue, except it's the only side that's coming forward to talk.
Well, it's a side that wants to put the truth out.
Wants to put the truth out.
When you can put out messages that are distortive, that kind of twist things around, that, you know, if someone puts out any statement of truth, if you come back with an attack, they are being dirty. That's dirty politics. We don't do that. I'm taking the high road.
Then they discount everything you said because of that accusation.
Because of the accusation, and they turn it around. But this is PR strategies that are very effective.
So
They've been studied.
Let's go over, because I think we've beaten this horse up a little bit.
Okay.
We know that what's also important is, especially in this week, is at least let's hear the names of the candidates that you think are to be chosen. I want to bring up, I know that I didn't see any state races in there. Like, I know there's a guy named Nick Ananda. He was a guest way back when on the show, which I know you focused on the county council and the mayor. And there are others that are good candidates running for state offices. I know that Therese was in there, and a couple of people,
Yep.
Tina Wildberger, who won.
She won, yep.
Being supported by you guys. And I'm just giving an extra plug to Nick, because I know that he is dedicated to the same issues that you guys are. He may not be on your card, but he's got a very challenging race he's running against. A very nice lady, Lynn DeCoit, GMO farmer. So, I mean, it's very interesting.
So Linda Coit is again, if you look at her records, if you look at the way she's voted, and again going against the GMO moratorium, I think in disenfranchising the vote of the citizens, I think these are things that people need to start to reflect on, and the truth of that. A few things that I just want to mention in terms of we have a lot of different activities that our group is involved in. We've been obviously going out in card distribution. As I mentioned at the county fair, we handed out over 25,000 cards. We'll be at all the Friday events. We'll be there handing out cards at the MAC when there's a major concert. We'll also be there handing out flyers at the sidewalk, so come and join us. It's a great opportunity. It's a lot of fun. We have a great group of people who are enthusiastic and joyful, and it's a great way to spend a few hours connecting with people. Another thing that we have is, again, as I mentioned, is it's important to write. And become informed. If you are informed and then have discussions with other people, it's really important that you have the right information. So again, go to MauiVoteSmart.org. Also on issues, go to our website, MauiPonoNetwork.org. And write to your friends, social media, post, write letters to the editor. We have someone who can help you if you need help with editing. We have a professional editor that can help you and work with you. We also have canvassing and sign waving. If you go to the CoolianaNetwork.org, as I mentioned, you can find out when all the candidates will be out sign waving or canvassing. You can find out about all the different times when there'll be debates and forums, so you can meet the candidates themselves. You can also be involved with special events. We'll be having something on the 20th. We'll be having different gatherings. You can go to our website, go to our events calendar, and find out about all the different things that you can come in and participate and have fun with us. And we also, need help in a lot of different ways. We could use additional video editing, as we're doing a lot of social media clips for the candidates. Also, if you have any funds that you could support us with, would be greatly appreciated. We're all volunteers. We run on fumes. We have to, so we have to purchase cards, and we're trying to do social media boosts. So you can go to our website under donations, and anything that you could do would be greatly, greatly appreciated.
I'm going to kind of cut in only because we have 2 minutes to the end of the show. Paul, you've been a great guest. You've been really open and honest, and I very much appreciate you coming in here. And I hope that after the election, we can get together yet again and evaluate what's happened. And as people, all of us together, move forward to make this an island and keep this an island that we love, you know. I really think that's important. So remember now, today, in a minute we're going to be off, so I'm kind of wrapping it up. The Maui Pono Network is out there, MauiVoteSmart.org, KuleanaNetwork.org, MauiPonoNetwork.org, MauiNeutralZone.com. You can listen to this show and other shows about issues. We have been on the air now an hour, and we could keep talking about this. Go out there and do your part to be part of a solution for our island. Paul, I appreciate all the hard work you and your team has done.
Thank you, Jason.
I can't even begin to imagine how much work has gone on here. You're talking about a small group. You know, Margaret Mead said it, about a small group of people doing it. Thank you very much for doing it.
And thank you for this show and for really supporting getting honesty and truth out here on the airwaves.
Well, thank you. Well, everyone out there, I want you to know I thank you for joining our show. We'll see you again next week on the Maui Neutral Zone. Let's see here.